Right.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our episode number 6 of Business Events Decoded. We have met some wonderful people in the past, and we have a very, very charismatic, sophisticated guest on our show today as well. He is a serial entrepreneur as he has grown his business across a variety of domains such as campaign management, visual effects, learning and development, and customized branding solutions. He is also an avid gamer, voracious reader, and an automobile enthusiast, and is at the helm of Road Safe India, an initiative to spread awareness about need for road safety in India and empower action. It was in the year 2000 that he took the plunge as an entrepreneur, co-founding ICE Global, a company known for its path-breaking ideas and constantly creating the uncreated. ICE Global today specializes in experiential communication strategy and campaign management and is firmly entrenched in the field of brand communication and management. Over the years, ICE Global has worked with inspirational brands in automobiles, media, entertainment, engineering, Bollywood, having orchestrated experiences of premium caliber across various countries and regions. Let's welcome our next guest, Mr. Pramod Gaikwad. Welcome
Thank
to the
you,
show, Pramod, Business Events Decoded. How have you been?
Sushil. Thank you. And firstly, thank you for the extremely warm welcome. As usual, you're a fabulous host, and that was a great intro. Thank you very much. So business has been you know how it is, right? It's been a roller coaster. We've seen anything like this in the past, what, forever?
Yeah, well, first
Uh,
time in our lifetime, I would say.
Very interesting times, isn't it?
Yeah. So
Totally.
I guess the last time we saw something close to this was in 2008, 2009 when the subprime crisis hit the world.
True.
But there you know that it was not a health risk. And
Correct.
people, it was more of a financial setback. Here it's a health risk and a financial setback. And economy is going down the drain. So probably the most challenging time in our lifetimes, I would say.
Absolutely. Even
Yeah,
9/11 didn't, I think, didn't impact the world this much. It didn't impact the mice industry this much because
correct,
we all kind of compromised our safety a bit. We took off our shoes and took off our belts, and we got on the flights and we traveled.
correct.
But nothing like this.
Exactly,
Nothing like
exactly. So tell me, Pramod, tell us a bit about your entry into the world of business events, experiential marketing. Let's start right from the beginning.
Oh wow, Sushil. I mean, now this question takes me back a couple of decades, right? And so I'll be honest with you. I think mine's the case of Forrest Gump. For those who have seen the Hollywood movie Forrest Gump,
Yeah.
that was exactly what it was. It
Okay.
was just I stumbled into the industry,
Yeah.
and from there it began. So I was doing my first year in my masters in business administration. In the first year of my MBA
Yeah.
is how it was. I want to earn extra money, and you kind of do odd jobs. So I was doing
Correct.
exactly that as a young student. I was freelancing and doing some freelance work and stuff. And I had a friend in the
Yeah.
event industry, a very
Okay.
young company in events.
Yeah.
And so I began working on projects,
Yeah.
and from security to backstage and so on and so forth. And before
Yeah.
you knew it, I discovered that I had a passion for this stuff. I found myself as a natural planner.
Yeah.
And I had a gift for organizing stuff and took
Yeah.
complete ownership on projects. So I just
Yeah.
enjoyed doing what I was doing. And well, I was offered jobs at the end of my MBA in foreign banks and stuff
Yeah.
like that, posting in Mauritius, guaranteed within the next 2 years and stuff like that. Much to my parents' annoy,
Yeah.
much to their disgust, I took up a job in an event company, and that's how it began.
Which event company was it?
So this was Rapo Global. with
Okay.
Deepak.
Okay.
And that was all about Bollywood and concerts and stuff like that. And we did
Okay.
some A.R. Rahman concerts in Malaysia, and we did many of the jobs in Bombay and India and
Nice.
so on.
Nice.
But I think my journey in events really began right there.
Okay.
And around a year or so, I was handpicked by Mudra Communications. At that time, Mudra was the third largest advertising agency in India, if you
Yes.
remember.
Yes.
And I was handpicked to start an event company for them in
Yeah.
Delhi. And I began an event company. I then took on and took over their company in exhibitions. And there began my journey. So, like I said, Forrest Gump right through.
Wonderful. And as the years evolved, what sectors of the industry have you been doing business events, MICE events for?
So, I think this is a very good question,
Yeah.
Sushil, because people normally club it as the MICE industry as one large bucket. And
Correct.
it really is not.
It's not true.
It's not, right? The
Yeah.
industry is compartmentalized. The industry is getting curated into specialized areas. And
Yes.
it depends on what can the entrepreneur or the person in the experiential chair
Yeah.
bring to the client.
Yeah.
And we find ourselves dealing with a lot of group of companies. We're head office of different conglomerates and MNCs. So we work with the group companies at the head office levels. We do a lot of work with automotive companies, and that I think is more of a personal passion. I just love cars. I just love everything to do with cars. Whether they're off-roading vehicles, sports vehicles, sedans, luxury vehicles. I just love automotive, and hence we do a lot of work with automotive companies in MICE events as well.
Yeah.
Our clients include brands that fall in the industry of construction equipment, the large earth-moving equipment and the JCBs of the world, that kind of stuff, real estate.
Okay.
And we also do quite a bit of work with associations, different industry associations.
Okay.
So I think it's more of what we can do in those industries. I don't think I would be very good with alcohol brands, for example, or tobacco brands. So that's not my portfolio of brands,
Okay.
It's what we can curate for those industries that really creates an impression with the brand. And hence we find these industries have been our go-to spaces right through.
Correct. And what has been the typical size of the groups or the events that ICE Global has handled for these companies?
It's been a mixed bag.
Yeah.
It's been a mixed bag. I mean, for the same organization, Sushil, as you know, one would normally do a small group as well as a large group.
Correct.
So in our case, I would say with ICE Global, our sizes of groups would vary between 100 to 800 on an average.
Okay.
Of course, we have done even smaller groups, so we're down to 25 people.
Brilliant. Okay.
And a couple of them have gone beyond 1,000 as well. I really feel that, the smaller the group, around 50 to 100, better the curation experience possibility. And maybe it's a function of the budgets. Maybe people are willing to spend more because the smaller groups will be more exclusive audiences, the more or the senior management, the top rung. The curation is much more exquisite in that sense of creation. When we go to the dealer level or employee level at large, L1, L2, L3 levels, we suddenly realize that, hey, we're just doing run-of-the-mill stuff with a bit of creativity.
Yeah.
But I love doing the smaller groups for the sure creative experience of it. But the larger groups bring in the revenue.
Yeah,
so,
I agree. In fact, and which have been the most frequent destinations or popular destinations for you to take these events to? Within India, out of India, doesn't matter.
But the sheer volume of affordability, viability, I would say Asia Pacific and Middle East are up there in the numbers. And specifically with countries, I would say countries like Malaysia and Dubai come up more often than the others. But I find Singapore extremely aggressive in wanting to get the business and what they're willing to throw in, the kind of deals they're willing to work out, down to giving in experiences in terms of entertainment for the evening and so on. I mean, they're extremely professional as the tourism board, right? Personally, I still prefer the events that we've done in places like Finland, Italy, South Africa, just for the sheer diversity, the sheer beauty of the location. I mean, Finland we did a project in December. I
And
think when the
was it in
film,
Helsinki or which part of Finland?
so we did Helsinki and we went to Saimaa, which is a
Okay.
little away from Helsinki, closer
Okay.
to the Russian border.
Okay.
And when the Finns were leaving Finland,
Yeah.
in the peak of December, we were taking a group in,
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
But it was absolutely magical. It
Yeah.
was magical, you know.
It's beautiful at that time, decorated with all the Christmas spirit.
Yeah, and the sheer pristine nature of how they handled their destinations was amazing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And even places like South Africa, but Cape Town, amazing. I mean, that country has been through hell and back, like how India has been with
Yes.
colonization. But and they attained freedom much after we did.
Yeah.
They have really preserved their coastline and the natural beauty and the
Yeah.
way of life. And it is amazing to take a group there and actually create all that
Yeah.
for groups out here. In India, of course, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
We do it all across the country, small groups, big groups. It's
Yeah.
all over.
I guess right now Goa seems to be ruling the roost. Everybody seems to be going to Goa now.
Yeah. I think primarily because Goa has proved to be almost COVID-free. I don't know, till a certain point of time. And everyone said, "Okay, wahan COVID nahi hai, let's land up over here and party."
Exactly. I think so. All of a sudden, वहाँ सबसे ज़्यादा COVID हो जाएगा. I think.
Like Lonavala, right? Everyone
Yeah.
took off from Mumbai to go to Lonavala.
Correct.
The place is pretty much safe. And then a couple of weeks back, Lonavala went into shutdown mode, saying we got too many COVID cases.
Exactly.
So,
Tell me, how has your business evolved with COVID? What has been the major impact? Of course, I know everybody's businesses and industries come to the verge of extinction, and it's a matter of survival right now.
yeah.
But many companies, many of our colleagues have sort of got on to virtual events and have been doing that. What has been the experience in your case?
Sushil, that question is almost rhetoric, right, in our industry. It's
Exactly.
self-answered. But, I would say for me, when it came to the mice part of our business, COVID descended upon us like Thor's hammer. It wasn't about the virus itself. It was the paralyzing fear psychosis
Correct.
disease created.
Correct.
Right.
That's true.
And the crippling fear of the unknown cast this long shadow of the plague over the entire industry. And whether it was the travel industry, hotels, hospitality, everything, boom, it was right there, right?
Exactly.
We didn't know what we were dealing with. Governments had no clue what was coming up next.
Correct.
So everyone was all over the place. We lost confirmed events all the way till October. And I'm talking about March.
Yeah.
March, right? Before India went into a lockdown, we began losing events. And by the time we hit March 31st, our calendar was cleared out on the MICE events all the way till October.
Correct.
In fact, in the month of March, on 2 projects, teams were setting up and we had to just, no option but exit, stop and exit.
Exactly.
So that was it. I mean, the long arm of COVID descended upon us like Thor's hammer, man. It was unseen. I mean, nobody, I think, in the corporate side of the business wanted to bite the bullet and say, don't worry, let's do the event.
Exactly. Yeah, because it's too much of a risk for them. One person getting infected and extremely bad PR for their company then.
And so many different touch points, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you could maybe secure the event site itself, the ballroom, sanitize the place, and or whatever else.
Yeah.
People are traveling.
Yes.
Taxis, buses, airlines.
Too many touch points. Too many.
Too many touch points. So I think, like you said, I mean, the industry took the brunt of it like nobody else.
Correct.
Like nobody else.
So how have you coped up? Just so that the other viewers understand on your way of coping up with the situation. Because it's been probably the most challenging time for all company owners without any exception.
I agree.
And everybody has had their way. Some people have had enforced unpaid leave. Some people have enforced 50% pay cut, 70% pay cut. Some people have let go of their staff.
Yeah.
How have you managed to cope up with the situation?
I think it has been pretty much, we'll arrive at the bridge and see what's happening.
Yeah.
The mindset every month in our case.
Yeah.
So when we lost orders all the way till October and it's in the month of March, I gathered my team together and said, guys, I do not know where it is heading.
Exactly.
Right? In the month of April, the whole thing could be, nothing to worry about, get back to work as usual.
Correct.
Or it could be, man, I don't know. right?
Yeah.
It's all over.
Yeah.
So we held on to the entire team for 3 months.
Yeah.
Full benefits, the works.
Correct.
3 months later, and we had a meeting with the team, and we said, look, there's no company on this planet that can survive in this industry for a year, 8 months with no revenue. It's not
Exactly.
possible, right?
Exactly.
So we took a collective option, and we said that fine, we'll wait for 3 months. We'll see how things go.
Yeah.
And if things don't show any upswing in the business, we said we will then start taking pay cuts.
Yeah.
So 3 months later, we found ourselves all taking pay cuts.
Okay.
We had pre-decided the slabs
Yeah.
of how to go.
Yeah.
A couple of people actually took the opportunity to go on a sabbatical from my team. They said, because Pramod, the way the industry is, we never get time.
Exactly.
So they wanted to deal with their unfinished business in the personal lives.
Yes.
So they took unpaid leave for 3 months and 4 months. And said, let us sort that out.
That helps.
And for me, it really helped. It helped the bottom line because every bit was kind of contributing to survival mode,
Correct.
In the meantime, of course, one of my clients also complimented us on the fact that we really re-engineered our thinking immediately. By April, we had created virtual studio setups. We were offering clients possibilities of coming into a very sterile environment and still doing business as usual for their mates without really taking the chance on all that. So all that is what we did. But that, as you know, doesn't pay the bills, right?
Exactly.
A few months later, coming down to May onwards, we began getting into the game of doing virtual events. And we have done quite a few, if I may say so. We've done a variety of virtual events, right from award ceremonies for employees to entertainment events, to conferences, to AGMs. We've done a variety of these events.
Wow.
Product launches and so on, all online.
Okay.
But no matter how much you do, for the team, the way it is structured, is a very different animal. We are not created our teams. We have not built these teams to go on digital.
Yeah.
We have hardcore production people who understand the technicals of sound, lights, and video, AR and VR and stuff, right? Logistics and travel, and that team is sitting pretty.
Here you need more of the movie or television production people than event production people to get 3D animations and all right going.
Absolutely. So now what we're doing is we are getting the team restructured. We'll have to make some major changes. In fact, we spent a couple of months reskilling our people to go more digital. We've branched off into a new business line on the side called Sukoon.
Yes, I remember that. Yes.
Of wellness.
Yes.
And on our mind for over 2 years, but we never got on to getting it off the ground. But we did groundwork. For 2 years, we've traveled to London and, Himalayas, and we met a lot of people, and there's been a lot of work going into it, but we couldn't get off the ground. So we used this lockdown time to get that business plan into order. And that's rolling, but in a process. It's not like a bingo, not a reaction.
Not an overnight money spinner or something. It's a platform that will take time to build and evolve.
Absolutely. So, but we got the time to do that. So we're staying positive. We're re-engineering the teams as we go along. And we're exploring here. So I'm talking to people like Jaspreet, who's on the tech whisperer. And that says, Pramod, every event company has got to rethink of their systems. Got to be an IT team first with an event team.
Correct.
So we got to recreate our team because mark my words, once this COVID virus thing goes away and travel does open up and whatever. But now clients and everybody have tasted the benefits of online.
Exactly.
The cost efficiency of online.
Exactly.
It doesn't bring in the experience for sure. But it does economize the entire experience of talking to each other and doing certain things.
Correct.
So I think the new normal is going to be a blend of digital and real.
Correct.
And in fact, much more digital.
Yes.
So earlier we spoke about doing AR and VR into our live events. Events, but now it's going to be much more into microsites and streaming and all the stuff coming into game.
When do you expect things to bounce back?
Oh boy.
In your opinion?
Oh boy. I don't think anybody.
There's no crystal gazing, say.
This is blue sky thinking. But nobody on this planet, I think, has a clue. I mean, we've heard Bill Gates speak. We've heard statements made by Donald Trump and Narendra Modi and everybody else, right? But nobody, I think, has an actual handle on this.
Yeah.
But let's look at the key relevant factors that we in our industry are dealing with. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me, a very significant factor here is the fact that the world has never seen so much money
Yeah.
and so many resources
Yeah.
being invested in solving a single problem ever before,
Correct.
right? Across the globe, not nobody, right?
Yeah.
There is currently too much of money that companies and countries have invested in infrastructure, in travel, in hospitality, to
Yes.
simply abandon it.
Yes.
So that's not going to happen, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the reality of it that MICE events today depend upon companies doing well,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And the companies today across the world are so intertwined across different geographies.
Yeah.
And video conferencing just doesn't cut it.
Yeah. It doesn't.
It doesn't. I've had clients who tell me about this multiple times.
Yeah.
And if you take the long pullback view of the world, right?
Yeah.
The history of civilization, Sushil,
Yeah.
is that of blending storytelling, travel, and experiences.
Correct.
Businesses have grown, cultures have evolved on these three things. People tell stories, share their experiences, and travel across the world.
Correct.
Right. So I reckon that economies of the global collapse if and dependent industries aren't opened up gradually and surely.
Yeah.
Because the sheer colossal damage of closing the industries down is bankrupt countries.
Exactly.
My guess, maybe it's a hopeful guess, is that I think starting April, May of next year, I think things will begin looking up.
Yeah.
That's
a good guess.
That's my dart on the board. You know,
I believe from next October onwards, good times should start coming back, and 2022 we should be seeing a huge resurgence, almost like all the pent-up demand coming out together.
Totally.
Whether MICE, whether business, whether social events, all of them I think will converge, and the 2022 onwards should be the best years for all the companies who are able to survive and just be around till that time.
Key factor to hang in there, right?
Absolutely.
And look at the telltale signs. So weddings across the world are going to happen because of the emotional events.
Exactly.
It's not MICE, but it'll open up in a small way. Sporting events today do not depend upon ground audiences too much. It depends upon television audiences.
Correct. Yes.
And now streaming revenues.
Yes.
So you will see the IPLs coming up next year anyway. You'll see sports coming up in a big way.
Yeah, it's happening this year. I mean, it's already on in Dubai as we speak.
Absolutely. So because the revenues are coming on streamed into the houses.
Yeah.
So the Hotstars and Netflix and the Z5s and whatever else, and television, of course, the revenues are coming in for people watching it.
Yeah.
They will lose the ground revenues, the ticket sale, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Sports will come in a big way. I think that will bring comfortable to a lot of organizations saying, hey, you know what, let's take it one level further.
Correct.
So I know you're saying 2022, but I really figure that it might be by middle of next year.
Yeah.
Because by the time we'll finish maybe 5 or 6 months of sporting events, weddings, and then people say, you know what, it's not bad.
Exactly.
You know, with certain amount of precautions, sanitizations, gloves, and hygiene factors in place.
Yeah.
And you know for a fact, right? The moment 9/11 happened, and everyone said, oh my gosh, right? Travel stopped momentarily.
Exactly.
All of us gave up privacy to a certain extent. We took off our shoes and socks and belts, but we traveled.
Correct. Exactly.
So mankind will do the same thing right now again, right? We'll give up a bit of our privacy and a bit of our personal space and whatever else, and we'll just go and do it.
Correct. That's true. That's true.
My fingers are crossed that by middle of next year, they're all companies hang in there.
Yeah.
Change.
What would be your advice to companies, especially in our industry, MICE industry, business events industry, on what they can do to hang in there to sustain? Because one of the questions we used to ask was, what do you think of sustainable tourism, which I have personally evolved into? How can you sustain your business given the current times? So what would be your advice to companies, and after that to individuals who are looking at entering this field and making a career in travel and business events and MICE?
I think the fact that the evolution of mankind depends upon interaction and engagement.
Yeah.
That has always been the way. It's not going to change.
Yeah.
Yes, we've seen certain amount of distance coming in because of social media, and people are now glued to the devices. But that's a very small segment of what's really happening. The world revolves on the basis of people engaging and communicating.
Yes.
And that's not going to stop.
Yes.
Uh, whether it's social functions, whether it's destination weddings,
Yeah.
whether we're looking at people doing serious business meetings and expos and conventions, that's not going to stop.
Yeah.
So I definitely feel that technology is going to come into our space in a really big way. There's no getting away from that, right?
Yeah.
And hence evolution is something that we need to keep in mind when we're looking at the future of this industry.
Yes.
So use the time to really look at taking this to MICE 2.0.
Yeah.
And if the brakes are on right now in our industry and everything's frozen, it's frozen because we haven't evolved to the next level.
True.
And Sushil, you've seen how the last 3 months have materialized, right?
Yeah.
The amount of virtual events happening right now, the amount of online activities happening right now.
Yes.
Look at the stock market value of Zoom as a platform, right?
Become the new unicorn.
It's absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
Look at how MS Teams is evolving its platform.
Yeah.
The number of online virtual venues that have been created from Florida to India to Dubai.
Yeah.
Actual virtual venues that you can buy into and host your event in those locations.
Yeah.
Fact is, everyone's adapting.
Yeah. True.
And I do feel that we need to evolve our organization and our teams to now be much more tech savvy. And where earlier we would bring in, let's say, a social media team in to create a ripple effect which is bigger than the room that we are in,
right,
broader horizons, that's going to be at least around 70% of the chunk. So the noise value in terms of the boom, in terms of the experience creation. We're doing engagements online, we're seeing virtual games as a part of events. And we have really seen even talent taking to this. The number of illusionists today that have adapted and created projects where they can go online and create mind reading and virtual games and illusions online just shows the adaptability of each industry, right?
Correct.
We believe that the next avatar of this industry is going to be 60% virtual and 40% would be on ground and so on. Okay. And that's my key takeaway. So
and there's a term for it. Phygital is what it's being called, right?
It's being called phygital. That's right.
Yeah.
Physical and digital. But I really think that in this backdrop, people who are wanting to join the event industry shouldn't fear technology and should not fear IT and shouldn't fear digital and online.
Yeah.
It's not that difficult. Embrace it and fit in. It's really wonderful to see how these things just fit in.
They do. Brilliant. They do actually.
And it also solves the problem that most clients were asking for earlier in the ROI. How do you track the ROI of an event? So this really takes to the head, the ROI really comes up there in terms of the amount of time a person spends in the kind of location the person has been involved with, when does the person log in and everything. I think it's a good thing what's happening right now.
In fact, I don't know if you are aware of the Land Rover Defender that was just launched. It was an entirely virtual launch with 3 different settings. I don't know if you were involved in it or somebody else did it. I was seeing on Facebook some of the sets or the virtual sets that they had created. Quite beautiful actually. Like a whole stage being created over water on a beach and the car appearing as it's driving out of the ocean onto the stage.
Amazing.
In real life, it would be almost impossible to do that, but in virtual, it was done. But I just don't know in terms of ROI for the agency investing the time to give that idea and the billings in whether in proportion with the efforts put in for the idea and the time. And what would be your advice coming to individuals who are looking at being part of this industry?
Very, very awesome question.
Yeah.
So earlier, as an entrepreneur, I would look at people to join my company from the point of view of, do they understand sound, acoustic, power supply, material weight, lag, different dimensions? Are they aware of spatial dimensions within an environment? How good is time management important? So those are the key factors to figure out who's good and who's a team player and so on. But I'm pretty sure that by next year, when things begin changing,
Yeah.
we are looking at would be also those who are adaptable to technology,
Correct.
those who are comfortable with um, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn,
Correct.
who are comfortable with coding or even conversing with techie guys in terms of coding, and
Correct.
what a hotspot is, what an animated site is, what a clickable site is. You need to know what a
Correct.
micro site is. So
Correct.
that language now has to come into the vocabulary. So I
Yeah.
would say that while you're doing your event management course, which is wherever you're doing it, and it's important to do a course because it gives you a very strong grounding in the business
Correct.
to grow ahead, right? It gives you a
Correct.
jump start in the career.
Yeah.
Also, look on the side of picking up something which is digital.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to become a coder, but
Yeah.
you need to be able to talk the language.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Like how we keep telling our team, right? It's not like we're sitting down there with hammer and nail, but you got to be able to talk to the guy, and you got to know what is the length of a plywood. You got to know what is the ohmic resistance of a microphone. You got to know what a Shure
Correct.
or an SM58 is. You talk the language.
Correct.
And then you work with people who are better than you in terms of those areas, specialists.
Correct.
So if you join an industry, I would say start expanding your horizons, keep a very, very open mind.
Yeah.
And I think the exponential growth of the mice industry that's coming up a year or two from now is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, even I believe so. Yes.
Phenomenal.
As we're running out of time, Pramod, any last thoughts that you would like to share with our viewers?
One is, I think the COVID-19 pandemic affecting our industry adversely couldn't have come at a better time.
Yeah.
Because today we're at the tipping point of 5G.
Yes.
Right? We got AR, we have VR, we have holograms, technologies that are phygital in many at the cusp of their being right now, right?
Correct.
So if this had to happen maybe 2 years earlier or 5 years earlier, it would have been catastrophic for us.
Correct. We wouldn't have the technology to fall back on then.
There was not a hope in hell of doing a virtual event.
Yeah.
But today we're looking at increasing speeds. Last mile delivery down to houses have been increased down to broadbands and leased lines. So I'm saying that if it had to happen, this was the best time it could have happened. And this is worked as a catalyst, because now everyone suddenly realized that we need to really expedite what we're doing on the tech space of it.
Yeah.
So I think our adaptability to these technologies is going to be key.
Yeah.
The second thing I believe is that the COVID-19 has showed us is that people are now awakening to the fact that they got to respect their environment better.
Correct.
The dolphins in the canals of Venice and people seeing blue skies instead of the smog and the fogs around the place. Suddenly people have realized that this is what's happening, and we've seen countries taking measures. The Nordic regions, for example, are very, very particular about wastage and very particular about littering and stuff like that. But we're seeing more countries, we're seeing island nations now taking a great step in terms of preserving the environment, because they know that the tourism is going to come in that space.
Correct.
And they don't mind pricing themselves a little higher and saying this is a tourism tax. So I think being aware of how to create sustainable events is going to play a huge role in terms of what we do with this mice industry. So, and having said that, I really feel that it's very important for the mice industry to take the leap first. Rather than being forced into it, I think we should create sustainable events in every possible way. We should take the lead in creating the benchmarks and guidelines in place. And I think if we do that, the sky's the limit. So technology and sustainability, 2 keywords.
Wonderful. I think that has been a very, very informative session. I have learned 2 things out of this. Technology and innovation is going to be the way forward. I think from thinking just like a business events or a mice company, we have to think almost like a film production company, where the production is going to be done on ground, and then it will obviously be virtual and in many cases live. Instead of the action being on ground, it's going to move online. And that's probably one of the biggest takeaways. So thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, Pramod. If people want to follow you on Instagram, what would be your handle that they should follow?
Guys, I'm available on various handles. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. On Instagram, my handle is Pramod2810.
Okay.
On handles, you'll find me at Pramod Speak. as my handle across different platforms. And I'd be more than happy to collaborate, learn from you, and share views, to figure how do we change what we're doing and make it better.
Once again, wonderful chatting up with our guest, Pramod Gaikwad from ICE Global, as he's already given his social media handles. You could also follow me on social media, and my Instagram handle is Sushil Shamlal Wadhwa. And on Twitter, I am Wadhwa Sushil. Or if you just search for Sushil Shamlal Wadhwa, you'll find me pretty much everywhere. So feel free to follow me. Thank you for watching the show all the way to the end. Remember to like and comment on this video and share it on your social media platforms. And also subscribe to this channel. And looking forward to seeing you again with another guest very soon. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day, evening ahead. Bye-bye.